Congrats to Pitt. Obviously outplayed us, and whenever I say that as they outcoached us as well. And I got a football team that needs to play better. I thought in the first half, in particular defensively, we did not play contested football. I thought it was way too easy for their quarterback. We played really soft coverage and gave up a lot of things. Defensively in the second half, different story. Had a lot of bad field position in the second half, but stopped them over and over and over. I think 5 straight drives without a touchdown. So, I was proud of the adjustments, but we can't play like that. We can't give somebody that many points and that many yards and a half and then think we're going to be in the game. And we got to do a better job, schematically, in getting our kids to play tighter coverage. Played well against the run game. It's a good running back, and I think they had 50 yards, but they had 30 first downs. And so they're going to score a lot of points when that happens. So a lot to work on defense. Offensively, we got to score. We got to score a lot more points than we are. When we're in a rhythm, see a lot of good things. But with that defense, top 10 rushing defense, I knew we were going to have to throw the football. We did have an explosive run, obviously, in the first half, and hung in there with them score-wise for a while. But, we get behind 2 or 3 possessions, and it kind of changes things as far as your play calling. Questions?
Dave, you mentioned the play calling and such. Where do you think CJ's at right now in terms of mastering that? I know there was a 4th down where he flung the ball out of bounds.
Yeah, disappointed in that. I told him after the game, you can run, man. If things aren't there, run the football. Go get us a first down with your legs. It's 4th and 2. So he's still a young quarterback, As far as where he's at mentally, he does a lot of things at an elite level. There's always growth. And that wasn't what we prepared for. It was like 2-minute defense, after they got up 3 scores. A lot of those drop back passes were into cover 2, and not that we don't practice cover 2, but what I'm saying is on 1st down, 2nd down, 3rd down, you're getting basically 2-minute defense at that point with a 3-score lead. But CJ is going to continue to get better, and he's a really good football player. I'm proud of some of the guys and how hard they played there at the end. You see Tristan Teasdale get an interception. Noah Rogers continues to play hard. Teddy Hoffman threw a touchdown, caught a touchdown. So there are some positives in the game, but not enough.
You made the decision. I think it was 25 down in the 3rd quarter. You kept CJ in. I was wondering what led to that. Did you consider?
Yeah, we're trying to win, man. Look up. There's 11 minutes on the scoreboard. We're down 18 points. Score, go for 2. You guys know I've been a part of some good comebacks. I'm not going to quit and just throw in the backups, So, I'm going to keep competing, and we're kicking onside kicks. We're going for it on 4th down. We're putting our defense in terrible field position because I'm not going to lay down and just say game over with 11 minutes left on the clock.
Pitt gave up 7 sacks a week ago. You guys weren't able to get one. What were they doing, I guess, that kept the defensive line from getting?
Well, they played a lot better up front. I thought Syracuse, I don't know if they didn't respect Syracuse and weren't ready, or Syracuse did a really good job surprising them with some different blitzes, but they were able to beat guys one-on-one. And there were times we did that tonight, and the coverage wasn't tight enough to allow the pressure to get there. And then there was times where the quarterback evaded the pressure and got out of the pocket, and he's done that, in the 4 games he started. The kid can run. But coverage and pass rush have to work in tandem. If you have tight coverage, then your pass rush has a better chance to get home. And if you don't, then those guys it ain't going to matter. He's going to have a check down. He's going to have a place to throw the football. And so, schematically, we need to do some things that allows that tandem to be better than it is right now.
And you mentioned the soft coverage. What kind of led to that? It seemed like he was able to get, everything over the middle. He was able to find.
Disappointing, because that wasn't what we practiced. We worked a lot on some of those concepts and just didn't get executed. And the players got to do what they're coached to do. And, it's 3rd and 18, and one of our linebackers jumps an underneath route and voids his own that he's supposed to be sitting in where they throw the football. And that's unacceptable. And, and that's coached. And so at some point in time, as a guy on the field, you got to do what you're coached to do in that situation. And it's a great kid. I love him to death. But that's bad football. It's 3rd and 18. You don't jump an underneath route when you're playing zone defense. That's just an example, right? And that's not where loose coverage bothers me, 3rd and 18, because it's down the field routes, right? It's when you're playing on 2nd and 5 and you're giving up stuff like that. That's you got to play tighter. And you saw it in the second half. But we got a lot of work to do. Disappointed. We came out of the bye week. And I thought we'd play a lot better than we did tonight.
You mentioned the coverage, did they kind of find that sweet spot in between the backers and the back, where they were sitting in there in the middle?
Check downs, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, is that kind of what you're talking
It
about?
depends on what you're in, you know, I mean, when you're in cover two, you're giving check downs up, like, and there was a couple times that was what we were in, and they ran a play that fit the coverage well, right? But there's other coverages where that's not, we're playing man on a back, like, he shouldn't have an open back to throw the football to. And so, again, it's execution.
You mentioned coming up the bye week, not expecting to play like you guys did. Hollywood mentioned you guys focus on the details and the little things, but it just didn't show up on the field.
No, it didn't.
What do you think led to that?
It's a good question. If I had the answer, we would have played a lot better. You know, it's not what I expected to see. You know, it's not the team that I expected to see on the field. And I'm not blaming them. I'm the one that got them ready, so it starts with me. And I told them that in the locker room. They got to coach better. They got to play better. And it's, you know, there was 9 guys in our top 22 on defense that couldn't play tonight because of injuries. It's not an excuse. The guys that are playing got to make the most of the opportunity. And they got to play really well for us. And we got to give them a chance to play well schematically. And so DJ and the defensive staff got to look at who we have and match up and go play as hard as they can, man. And I don't care if we get beat deep on things when we're playing tight coverage, you know, like, let's just get in there and play tough, contested, hard-nosed defense.
The defense is the first 8 penalties of the game. You know, what is that like for you to, see the unit consistently?
Themselves over and over and over. It's the opposite of what we talked about. The opposite. You know, and some of them are combat penalties. You're going to make a tackle and you brush his face mask. It's not like we ripped the kid's helmet off. You know, that's football. That's going to happen. But the pass interferences, we got to play with technique. And I thought one of them was a questionable play. I thought the corner actually had really good coverage, one with Brian. The rest of them were real. And I saw 21 hook a guy. I saw Jackson grab a guy when he didn't have to. So, I mean, that's technique. You guys got to play better.